I'm a guy that's 25. Lego Star Wars is my life. I like Ryan Johnson. I'm Rich Boy J. Hello boyos, Rich Boy J here back in with another video, and today I'm going to give you my top 5 things I love about The Force Awakens. This was originally supposed to be a part of a Your Questions Answered question, but I decided to cut it from that video and I put it in my back pocket, and now I'm delivering it to you guys so you can hear me spread the joy of The Force Awakens. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. Number 1, the pacing. I wrote that the movie feels like a roller coaster. I think the pacing of The Force Awakens is perfect. I think one of JJ's best qualities as a director is his pacing. There are no parts of this film that drag. There are no parts of this film that feel boring. Everything feels like it has a very important purpose in the film, and it's advancing the plot in some meaningful way. And I love that. There's no part of this movie where I get distracted and start working on something else. Like, it's just a very well-paced movie. The second thing I put is that it has a great sense of adventure. I think this is great. Like, this is what Star Wars should feel like. Star Wars isn't really an adventure film series, but I love Star Wars when it has a great sense of adventure. For example, the first movie, A New Hope, like, it has such a great sense of adventure. You're following your characters, you're not really sure where they're gonna go, where the next step is gonna take them, and you're kind of just along for the ride. And I think The Force Awakens executes this perfectly, like showing it from Finn's perspective to start things off, and then seeing how he escapes the First Order, how he meets Rey along the way, how they both meet Han Solo, and how that kind of breaks off their path. You know, Finn ends up going to the Resistance, Rey ends up getting captured by Kylo Ren, and then those two story points both converge at the end of the film. I just thought that was just great in terms of just giving us a great sense of adventure in these films. Like, we get to experience these new different locations as our characters experience them, and we get to see their reactions to them. Number 4, the characters, Rey and then Finn and Poe's relationship. It's kind of become a thing now. People just crap on Rey, which I think is very unfortunate. I really do like the character of Rey. There are a lot of charming moments that she has in the film, like when she's just so insistent on staying on Jakku, and everyone around her realizes she's so talented and could amount to more, but she's just like stuck to this planet for some reason. And when she kind of finally gets over that, like, you see growth in her character, and I thought that was really nice. One of my favorite moments in Star Wars is when Rey's like flying over Takodana, and she's like, I had no idea there was much green in the galaxy. Just little fun, cute, charming moments like that really make a character endearing, in my opinion. And I appreciate that about Rey. They went a pretty long way to do that with her character. I also got to talk about Finn and Poe's relationship. This was like the moment in the film when I was first watching it where I was just like, okay, this is Star Wars. Like, Star Wars is back, and this is what I want Star Wars to be. Finn and Poe's relationship, how it manifests itself, like, it's just brilliant in my opinion. When they get together and have to escape the Star Destroyer, and they get in the TIE Fighter is still tethered to the First Order hangar, and there's kind of some banter between them, and you see them just organically become friends and really build a bond right there in the cockpit of that TIE Fighter. I just thought that was some really great writing, and you could just feel the chemistry of those characters just flowing and exuding out of the screen. I also got to talk about Kylo Ren. Watching The Force Awakens was so magical to me because you really got that feeling like not only are they going all in on like the protagonists, like Rey and Finn both get a ton of characterization and moments, and they feel very important to the film. Kylo Ren also feels very important, and they dive so deeply into him in this first movie, which is a very big turn from Star Wars films, right? Vader, we don't really get to know too much about him other than he's a fallen Jedi and has some relationship with Obi-Wan in the first movie. Other than that, we don't know too much about his character, what motivates him, what are some of his flaws. We don't know any of those things. Those are kind of developed over the course of the trilogy because they didn't even know they were going to be making more movies. In the prequels, you kind of just are thrown random villains that don't really get much development at all. But in The Force Awakens, right out the gate, you learn so much about Kylo Ren. Like, just from that one movie alone, you could describe him so deeply and just talk about the various facets of his characters, his motivations, his flaws, how he's kind of the opposite of what we would expect for a villain. He's kind of, I guess, a good-natured person in a sense because he feels a pull to the light, but he doesn't want to embrace that. He wants to embrace the darkness. He wants to be the very wrong parts about his family tree. And I think that was just a really interesting take on his character. and just made for him to be a very compelling villain. I love what they did with Kylo Ren in the first film. Number 5 is gonna be the presentation of the First Order. I loved how threatening the First Order felt right out the gate. The movie starts, they come raid a village, they just destroy everyone. They even have a guy with a freaking flamethrower coming out. And once it's all over with, Kylo's just like, yeah, kill all the villagers, like don't leave any witnesses, whatever. And just the shrieks of terror in their voices just made us see right out the gate, the First Order is not to be messed with. They're a viable threat and they can get what they want. So I love that about the First Order in this film. We see it manifest itself over the rest of the film, like on Tagadana, for example, when they show up, and like, I guess that was kind of more so a victory for the rebels, but I mean, Kylo still ended up with Rey. That did still mostly end up being a victory for the Resistance, but I think by the end of like what that battle looked like, you get a very good sense of like when the First Order shows up, bad things are gonna happen. First Order shows up to Jakku at the beginning of the film, like the village is completely destroyed at the end of that sequence. First Order shows up to Takodana, Maz's castle is destroyed, everything is just left in complete ruin. So they did a really good job at making the First Order feel very threatening, which was great for the bad guys of this trilogy. And that's gonna finish up the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed checking out, seeing what I just love so much about The Force Awakens. I would really like to see what you guys appreciate about this film, so drop that in the comment section below. If you like what I do, go ahead and support the video by hitting the like button, support the channel by smashing that subscribe button, and I'll be back again very soon.